20 years in Sunrise, multiple towers going up. If you don't want to pay the prices in the beach communities for condos, you can do that. And with maybe some public transit coming in, or better transit coming in, maybe you can do that. The mayor of Sunrise actually told a story recently at the South Florida Business Journal event. He used to commute from the mall on a bus to downtown meetings for Lauderdale. Sit there 20 minutes, half an hour in the bus, read something, make phone calls, go through files, relax. Quality time, somewhat quality time, because you're not like in road rage mode. Yeah? They shut down that route. So he can't ride the bus anymore, now he drives. 20 minutes, half an hour, time lost. Can't do anything besides audiobooks or radio, maybe a phone call. But you can't sit there and read, can't prepare for your meeting. Small little time. I ask my students usually, hey, when we talk about drive time here, some particular personal time, how far do you commute? I know some of you live on campus, yeah, but for those who do not live on campus, what's your daily commute for work and for school? You mentioned you live in Miami.
No, I live here in Plantation, but work in Miami.
Okay, so you work in Miami, but you live close by, 10, 15 minutes drive time to come to campus, but it takes you an hour to get down there?
Hour, and sometimes an hour and a half.
For your daily commute. Yeah? Any other examples? Who's commuting? How far?
Brickell.
Oh yeah, that's a good hour, isn't it?
Without traffic?
Yeah? 45
No,
minutes?
30 minutes without traffic.
Oh,
Keeping the speed limit?
Huh?
Keeping
70?
it?
Was it 70?
no.
About right.
So I thought it was
You know, listen, that's what everybody follows the speed limit from Miami.
I thought I was pretty good with 40 minutes, 35 minutes from the Discovery Center in the evening coming
Yeah,
down
but my
here.
building is honestly right beside an exit that goes right in the highway,
Oh,
so I
okay.
skip all of that downtown
How
traffic.
many miles?
Where do you work?
Title boxing in Brickell.
Alright, so your commute to work is shorter than actually to
Yes,
school.
walking distance.
Oh.
Like that's the good thing about being in the Brickell area because everything's walking distance and the amenities and retail's right there.
Differently. I have students in my online class on marketing courses, they are clocking in like a 2-hour commute back and forth to campus and to work maybe an hour. Imagine that time you spent in your car. Imagine now when you come in with the idea, hey, do I need to commute 1 hour or 15 minutes one way? That's a ton of time you can spend in the gym or cooking food rather than buying food somewhere ready-made. Different change of quality of life. You can sit down on the couch and read a book. You know, that hard copy printed thing with paper and smells like good stories inside. Always recommend books for my students. You ever read Moby Dick? High school classic? Have you read Moby Dick?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
It's a great read, not just a movie. Yeah? I always recommend books, completely strange. If you want to understand the way I teach, you know how I teach and why I'm so chaotic sometimes, Hitchhiker's Guide Through the Galaxy. Yeah? If you are wondering about my stress level and I tell you, no panic, don't panic, breathe, Hitchhiker's Guide Through the Galaxy is philosophy. Not just trends. Alright. Getting late. You gotta focus here. Alright? We talk about age and socioeconomic factors when we talk about residential uses. Yeah? Here, we're talking about the age of the tenant. How old is the business in your retail space? Huh? Is that a customer for the last 20 years, or did that customer actually did not exist 20 years? 20 years ago, your shopping center might not have been in place. Yeah? Everyone knows Sears? Toys R Us? What's happening with those guys? They're gone. Isn't that here technology obsolete? Yeah, I took that out, an example, not to give it away. What is a shop, retail brand shop that doesn't exist anymore because it's technologically obsolete?
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster. Welcome to the H. Wayne Heisinger College of Business and Entrepreneurship. Why? Because this guy ran Blockbuster and made some bucks with it. Yeah? But the VHS cassette is obsolete. The wedding videos of your parents, God bless them, they hopefully made the digital copy now and have it as an MP4. Or whatever format right now is revolutionizing digital video. Huh? Yes, I'm that old. I grew up with cassette tapes and videotapes. Made a recent comment, like, back in high school, people would do mixtapes for road trips, or, hey sweetheart, made you a mixtape. How do you do that today with what, Spotify and iTunes? Huh? A playlist, how romantic. I make a playlist, hey, here, swipe my QR code, this is the link. I got derailed with that because someone said, I'm going to make that on SoundCloud. So apparently that would work. Yeah? But think about that. Location of the center. What if, we're talking here, center of gravity, because in retail geography we talk about this attraction, where people, like a magnet, people will come to you. At some point there is no attraction, people will not come. What if it changes through competition? Do you have any example about a competition? Yeah.
Like with a company.
A new company is on the market.
So like, would it be like when Uber came out and then Lyft came out after?
Your taxi companies and Uber and Lyft, they are not really happy with each other, are they? Huh? What else? When we talked about
Airbnb. Airbnb.
Airbnb, hallelujah, exactly. There's a reason behind the idea why the city of Key West has zoning regulations and licensing for the amount of nights you can stay in a rental place or hotel. There are licenses where they actually say you're only allowed to rent out week-long or multiple, a minimum time of stay. I have friends, they do that, they're retired. They're taking 28 days down there. Yeah. And they're having a little tiny cottage because you can't rent that cottage overnight. They're staying there a whole month. Yeah? And it's not Airbnb. The Airbnb, if you look carefully, the only really Airbnb things you can find down there now is boats. Yeah? Or hotel companies putting their stuff on Airbnb as an outlet, as a marketing outlet, as a channel. Huh? Airbnb changed markets. When I came here for house hunting, I stayed with some guys with Airbnb. 4 bedrooms in that house, no one lived there but Airbnb people. The guy would show up in the morning, check if everything is okay, clean the house, change the sheets if needed, that's it. Electronic lock on the door. Get a text message, here's the key. Ding, 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 you're in, or email. I don't know if that was his residence or was it a known place for a rental income. I don't know. But they certainly make bank with that for $60 or $80 a night. Close to the airport. So when we talk about retail, and you mentioned it earlier, with online shopping has changed retail space, we need to be aware of that there are changes that are coming as a threat and as an opportunity in chaos. Super important. Change in behavior is coming every day. Music, income, lifestyle. I'm used to go to the grocery store. What do you have now? Blue Apron, HelloFresh, and all these delivery services. HelloFresh has a whole web page to show how environmentally friendly they are, because they show you how to break down the box in little pieces and how you can recycle that stuff. Not judging the food or the convenience of it, but there's something different than you go into the store and start smelling things. Get your tomatoes out. I cook a lot. I paid for college with cooking, so that's one thing. Fun stuff in college. Anyway, earlier questions. Can my new center, whatever type, be absorbed by the market? the location I put into place and the tenants I want to have for the location, will that be a possibility to deliver that to the market? Yeah? Can I have niche products, reuse of space, new gaps? Tesla is certainly a new thing, but it's still automobile industry. But hey, you would place a Tesla maybe even in a downtown retail store in Miami and only have like 2 cars there, and then maybe offer a limousine service to the parking lot or a valet service to pick up the test ride. 2 or 3 models to show and 1 or 2 models to run on the street. Why? Because those guys doing the lunch break, they probably will test ride that car. Because at that downtown location, that income that will want that car is there. You're not going to ride your Tesla in the evening at 7 p.m. at your suburban home. You swing by for convenience. Actually, I don't know. Maybe you get actually Tesla test ride delivered to your home, and they pick you up and then run there. Could be a different service. Huh? But think about niche products. You are not going to sell every time the same type of food. McDonald's is having more and more other variations of their food. They're not just a Big Mac and cheeseburger. What is really famous for McDonald's as the product to push the markets to the limit?
Real estate.
No, food. I'm talking retail. So retail is not just location, location, location. It's also what you can deliver and actually sell at the location. Ever heard about the MSRED? Huge thing in Europe and here too, because it was a seasonal element. And they decided actually to put it back in based on demand, put it back in a regular standard. You know, all the seasonal, the pumpkin spice latte. People, we are in Florida, we have 90 degrees out. Huh? Why don't I drink this stuff in March? It's still 90 degrees in March. No, because we're stereotyping the seasons and the change of the seasons, and now, boom, I have Starbucks as a pumpkin spice latte. It's a contradiction in itself in terms of food. So, hi.
Have you ever seen that documentary about McDonald's, how they expanded, like what they did with the land?
No, I have not seen that movie.
Oh, that's what I thought, because the guy said, he goes like, I'm not an expert in food, I'm an expert on real estate.
Yeah,
That's why he's got more properties. He's got more.
It's a
You're talking about restaurant over here, he owns more restaurants than everybody else.
Yeah. But that was the innovative part, a niche product, okay? Yeah. So take something that sells okay and put it in a different location and then see what else do you need to what do you need to put into these places? Where are McDonald's located?
Everywhere.
Everywhere? It's not detailed enough. Where?
On Main Street.
High traffic intersections. Airport terminals for pedestrians. Yeah, one thing. On road systems, high traffic count intersections. What else is located next to that McDonald's?
Burger King.
Burger King. Why is Burger King located there?
Competition.
Competition, and what else? Yes, please.
I saw a video on this. I think it was like if the two are like side by side, the Burger King gets everyone that's on this side of the market, and then McDonald's gets everyone else.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to put those slides in. That's actually retail theory by hoteling.
Yeah.
The ice cream vendors, what's the
Yeah.
best placement of the ice cream vendors? We can put that back in. I kicked that out. Best place to sell ice cream on the beach. It's not to the left and to the right. It's actually in the middle, facing the other market. But in terms of McDonald's and Burger King, they cannibalize the market. There's so much market for them that they will be okay with just your share. And if you be careful, I'm getting hungry. I'm close by, oh look, at McDonald's. Oh, I can't turn into McDonald's because there's a really painful left turn with all the traffic. The Burger King is right on my way, right turn. Boom, no traffic, no,
Well, there is
easy
something-
flow. Think about it, look at it next time. If you're getting hungry for some fast food, where is the most convenient place? If you want fast food,
The next easy turn.
is it a Big Mac or a Whopper? Convenience on that intersection and traffic, and maybe even if you see the line, or a drive-through, you might make a decision based on that.
Yeah.
French fries, which one has the better French fries?
Chick-fil-A.
You're crazy.
Between Burger King and McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Yeah, if you just want to have a quick French fries, it doesn't matter if you're on the way on a road trip. You might not. There is a balance in your thoughts, actually imbalance, and then one or the other will win. So keep that in mind. All right. All right. Defining a trade area. Well, we already did this one, did we? Yeah. Let's talk about a little bit different. There are different ways to define trade areas. You kind of get excited because you see a bunch of different maps, and yes, there are different ways to do that. This is what we want to do. This is the best way. Transport distance, and there's a spacious moving between that. That's a GS thing. I do maps. I actually don't, but this depends. Okay? When we talk about retail trade areas, we're talking about the primary trade area and the secondary trade area. The book talks about descriptive and prescriptive areas. Huh? That means I have an area where everyone wants to come to my place if I give them the right product mix, or retail products. And then I have another area of overlap where, yeah, they're a little indifferent. They might go to a different location. Yeah? Again, this is from the book. We're talking about here just the visuals between so-called gravitational models. Drive time. We have seen drive time examples already. Showed you examples for the GIS. Huff is interesting because it shows the spatial interaction, the probabilities. Are you willing to travel somewhere? What's the probability that you go to this shop or the other shop? If you're in between two places, how do you balance where to go? There might be something else that triggers your consumer behavior to go to the other shop. My first experience with that was, where are we going? We live in Delaware. Are we going to Philadelphia or to Baltimore to like here? And the response from my guest parent there was, we go to Philadelphia, they have a different value-added tax. Pay different taxes on the products. Just 2 or 3% difference at that time. But that was the reason for her to drive to the other place. And less traffic. Super interesting thing. I'm going to run through this. I want to get you exposed to that. It adds to the idea that you start thinking about your space differently. You don't need to remember all of that because it's not really covered in the book. But I want to explore the idea with you guys that you remember there are some scientific models you have seen that they're exposing you on the idea how to define trade areas. A classic example is range as in drive time. And the other thing is your consumer behavior. The more I know about you, the easier it could be for me to determine if you're part of my market or not. If I am selling alcohol products, folks that are below legal drinking age are probably not my market. I can rule out the 16 and 18-year-olds here in the US. If I'm selling beer, Germany, yeah, everyone 16 and above. That's different. So I need to know what's going on with my product. I have to have an idea what's going to be my product. And this is more you as the retailer, not as the tenant, not as the manager of retail space. But if you're working for a company that deals with retail space, you might want to know if you want to have a Starbucks or a Jamba Juice or a McDonald's in your mix as tenants. Or a Home Depot versus a Lowe's. That's building stuff, but they're different, slightly different. Makes a difference. Slight difference can make a lot of money difference. Here an example. Expenditure reports on patterns to estimate potentials. I want to know how much money do you guys pay for going to the cinema? Give me an estimate. The last year, how much money did you spend to go to the movies?
$11
Last year, or within the current year, 2018. 30.
I mean, the candy by itself is like that.
I always go to movies. I spend a lot.
Alright, how many times did you go to the movies? More than 5 times. Oh, once at least. Anyone? Alright. More than one time. Alright, keep your hand up. More than 5 times. Alright. Going to the movies, not watching movies. Going. So if I would be interested in someone who really wants to spend time in the movies and movie-related merchandise and promotions, I would call up Teddy, because he had his hand up for 5 and above. It's a little bit more complicated, but I just have picked my patron who are actually going to sell a movie pass. I'm making him an offer and say buy 10, pay 8. Why? He went, let's say, 6 times to the movies. He's now willing to pay 2 more times and gets 2 extras. But I get 2 more visits paid up front from him for the last year. Think about it. This is a shark cage problem. Remember when I talked about subscription and how you keep your customers?
That is the reason why the club shop is always offering early tickets.
No, that's a different thing. But you know, you actually get money for giving blood or blood plasma, depending where you go. So I don't know if this is actually just a business deal to give you free tickets, yeah, and they make actually a little bit more money as well. I don't know. I don't want to say it out loud because it takes away the awesome opportunity to donate blood. So besides going to a planning and zoning meeting, go and donate blood. It helps people to live. All right. I did this example here instead of food. I did this with your personal movie tickets. The reason why HelloFresh and Blue Apron are really interesting businesses is because they know people will go to the supermarket and pay money there. But people do not like to go to the supermarket every other day to buy stuff. And people are getting a little bored and non-creative when it comes to food. Speaking of roommates, I had a roommate who graduated from 4 years of college, Middlebury College, 4-year meal plan. Did not cook once in those 4 years college. And moved in with me as a grad student. Well, granted, his wife now turned him into a vegetarian, but he was actually able to cook. We had 1 night a week where we did roommate cooking. Guy who worked as a cook in Germany during college time, and a guy who never cooked before. Cleaning salad and cutting onions is a challenge for the first day. She's laughing. Yeah. All these other services now, you can buy cut onions, clean peppers, diced on all the stuff in the store. Only thing that's really valuable to do is, what's it, onions? Is the bell pepper mix. It's really cool with mangoes. If you really have to run fast. But everything else, learn people how to cut food. Teddy works in food, so he understands. By the way, here, short promotion, Teddy runs a food enterprise with the shark cage part. Do you know his office hours? Office hours, but opening hours? Talk to him after class. Okay, spread the word. Good ideas in shark cage. I see you on Friday afternoons next semester. Alright. Applied perspective. Central place theory, we had that. Okay? This guy did this measurement based on telephone landlines in South Germany. Doesn't exist anymore. Can't use that anymore. Yeah? Lersch did that same thing here actually in the Southern America, in defining all these belts. Yeah? Defining what are specific regions of zones. Yeah? Riley's law of retail, you do not have to write Riley. Don't write it. Just brought it in as an example, as an evolution in these processes. Yeah? Riley's law of retail gravitation, scary numbers, but it is the ratio between 2 places and the attraction. 2 places. You want to go to a sporting event. Same Saturday night, there is a baseball game and there is a football game. Between 2 locations, this is the where you at, the location where you live, this is the cutoff. Step to the right, you're at the football game, step to the left, because here is the drawn line between the attractiveness of these places, you have the graphics, and then you cut this out. Half turns into the idea of the consumer. That's the important part. One draws a line into the sand and says, everyone there goes there, here goes there. Half talks about your consumer. knowing what he wants to eat, knowing what he has bought in the last half year, there is a chance that he will go to a Winn-Dixie versus a Publix. And that's what I'm banking for, because all my product mix are my prices, yeah, or opening hours. Jump through that. Give you an understanding. Willingness to travel. And here in this case, it was the friction for what would you travel in mathematical terms, yeah, for let's say a golf game versus regular sports. Ton of literature out there. Just want to understand and keep in mind that this comes back to the willingness to travel. The loaf and the MSRED example is good enough. This is one more level in depth, yeah, because you can calculate that actually. What HAF does, this is a thing I did years ago, as an example to explain it to one of my professors who had no idea about that. You have different occasional supermarkets, you know what supermarket is, how big they are, you create a surface on what's the likelihood to have this person here to go to this supermarket, versus if you're far, far away, you would probably not travel here. You combine these, you get these trade areas, yeah, probabilities, likelihoods to go, and this is where I would place a new supermarket. Because I'm here in that gray area, this is where if I'm living here, I'm going to the new location. I'm not traveling to this one, or this one. Yeah? Keeps going and going and going. Again here, this is where you would be. Same thing, let's speed this up. This is the example from the textbook. All these lines are the probability. If you are living right now here in this area, according to the line, you have a 60% chance to go to this shopping center versus to this shopping or this shopping center. And that is why a McDonald's and a Burger King are going to be close by. Because this could be a Burger King, this could be a McDonald's, and this could be a Taco Bell. If you're here, depending on your traffic patterns and your consumer behavior, you might get that skim off. Okay? That was just a slide about technical data. I post a few slides. There's a ton of market research you can tap in. That might be a little bit too in-depth. But let's talk a little bit, let's say 10, 15 minutes, and then let you guys go so nobody complains you kept me 4 hours. Office and industrial space. Lessons learned, don't produce hundreds of slides. Office and industrial uses, commercial uses. They're a little bit different animals. Okay, they're different from residential. They're also a little bit different from retail. Yeah, because in an office space, you would assume that there's not really someone coming and buying chips and gummy bears. Okay. What type of industrial is interesting? So you're a property management minor. If I start talking now about warehouses, would you consider that you could be a property manager for a warehouse? There's a certain stereotype you have in mind, huh? Multifamily sounds pretty typical. Facility management, like a university or a hotel, yeah. The warehouse complex? Have you thought about that? Interesting perspective. Huge booming sector. And the light market is done in here. Because you need large space, and there's no way that you get large spaces for industrial warehouse buildings here anymore. It's really getting really tough to do that. Okay? Again, there's also different parcel size infrastructure requirement. And they are really, really cool places. In terms of office, we differentiate the quality of offices based on their classification. Brand new, expensive office space, we consider class A, then B, and then C. Based on location, age, they are of different interest. Size, flexibility, ownership, they differ as well. Our next slide is the important one. When you look at the business cycle of a company, and you are going to be, let's say, a startup, are you going to be in downtown 15th floor, class A office space? Probably not, because you probably don't have the $500,000 or $1 million you have to pay in annual rent down there. So, you move what we call here, this is what is called filtering. Particularly in office space, it's called filtering. So you have A, class A moves into B, moves into C because of age and or because of the location. If you're in suburbia, might not be immediately in class A. Vice versa, you can build class A in suburbia and you take away from downtown. And that's going to happen. It's actually happening. The filtering process goes with the cycle of the business. You move in from a really crabby C-level, old school office space in a local mall, or the garage of your parents. Garage of your parents is down here. Now you're big enough to actually go into a small rental office space. The new niche product is flex office, flex spaces. Whereas a young company, you rent out a few hours a day as an office space in the suite downtown. Then if you go bigger and have a bunch of employees, you might need better space, more convenience for your employees, better traffic, better prestige. At the end of the day, you're on the 13th floor, 14th floor in downtown, where you build your own headquarters as a new, brand new class plus, 8++. Okay? Understood the concept of filtering in office space? That you're moving through, as a tenant, you're moving through the different classes. You start with Z, B, and an A based on your business cycle and your needs as an office tenant. It's called filtering. It's a really cool effect. Changes a lot in the urban structures and regional context. A lot. Location matters in a region, within downtown, in close by downtown. If you look here at the region, Broward County, etc., you have downtown Fort Lauderdale, and you have new centers popping up. Sunrise is banking on a bunch of these pieces. Where did American Express go? They are not downtown. They're up in Sunrise, or close by to Sunrise. Yeah, Sunrise or still British. No, they're at Sunrise. Part of Sunrise, yeah? So location matters because they needed some office space, they moved out there, they got some fairly okay land, they got a good business deal with the local municipality. Next factor is what are the synergies, the locational factors. Do I have a hotel that needs to be maybe placed closer to an airport? Why? An airport is producing hotel guests. A lot of people running through the town, or through the airport. What are other locational factors for offices? Well, maybe I want to be next to a technology park. My office is interested in high tech. Maybe some clustering will work. Maybe I move into an R&D park, research and development park, and have these connections. Remember something about Silicon Valley? Research cluster? The old school example. They benefit from each other as tech companies and the technology and the labor down there. And then the housing market completely went viral because you couldn't buy and live anymore. Couldn't afford anymore there. There are report functions. Colliers is one example. Marcus and Millichap is one example. You might want to take a look at different web pages of so-called brokerage companies and companies that do some research and analysis for markets. That's a really interesting concept what they do. They actually, sometimes you have to pay for them. Those reports, sometimes they give you an idea. A little bit older, but they give you just, let's say, the idea of the vacancy rate. Okay, now you know in a specific area, larger each context, this was the vacancy rate for that. This impacts your space later on. What do you need to do for rents? Rents are important because you can't calculate a mortgage payment if you don't have revenue streams. Going to jump through that. Simple markets, different inventories, because you might want to know how much office space is available in each market, in each area. Please note that a market in office space is not necessarily the same thing that you learn from your market in residential sales. Your realtor who sells you a single family home has a different market idea about office space than office space. Office space is pretty much South Florida. Then you go down by county. But a Miami office is probably going to sell you some space in Kendall as well. If you're industrial warehousing, all in MDC is working. They might even show up here and up north and sell you a few thousand square foot, or 500,000 if needed. Yeah? So depending on the branch you're in and the sector you're in, remember that there are different ways to look at that. These are highly channelized. The vacancy in Philadelphia is not all over the place, 12% in this example. It varies from submarkets. Yeah? Not in all of the buildings in downtown Fort Lauderdale or Los Olos you're paying the same rent. They're pretty close. But there might be 50 cents a square foot off because you make other deals with them. Yeah? Okay, you guys are packing up already, are you? Depending on your location, it matters where you sit with your company. Yeah? Not just class A, B, and C. Yeah? That's office space. CBDs next to each other. Here it's called a sub-center. That's actually a model aged, but it exists. Take a look at the map here of the region. You see these patterns in different shapes, but elites versus lower and middle class. I don't want to call it elites, lower, middle class with those labels, but in terms of housing and socioeconomic terms, income, wealth, some homes or the housing area along the intercoastal is different from what you see in Davie or Cooper City. Definitely. Yeah? So these patterns exist. They might have changed a little bit. But then you also consider where would you place your next office space if you're a developer. Where would it be easy for you as a property manager to maintain existing property versus the whole neighborhood is going downhill. The housing prices are dropping down there. I only have small companies that don't want to pay any more $15. They only want to pay $13. Am I going to be okay with all of that? All right? Or is this going to be sustainable in the next few years from now? All right. A little bit more theory. We're going to take a look at this next week. A little bit dated, you could argue. It's all like 23 years old. But the idea was we have different locations that grew and get revitalized. Yeah? Give you an example. I think this is where I'm close today. Because you guys are falling apart right now. And the Sigi is definitely not listening to my lecture anymore. Tenna is...
Yes, I am.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If you look at the distance to the regional market center here, so Sondheim, distance, let's say, from downtown Los Olas, all right? You have a rent per acreage or rent per square foot. It's really high density, high demand. And then you actually move out, certain distance out, and then you suddenly find this neighborhood shopping center or a regional shopping center. So we are a little bit of a weird spread market because we have the next boundary is the Everglades. So everything is a little bit compressed here. Yeah? So you could argue, well, this is maybe the more shopping mall, Torquest Mill. Okay? Candle, a brick could be that peak. Yeah? As an example. So think about that. This is an example of if I change my landscape, aka the distance from a center, and I'm not just like office, and then residential. If I have a new economic function in place, retail, office space, shopping, fun stuff, you create those ripples, those peaks. Because suddenly, down at IKEA, down at the shopping mall, you have higher prices for retail space to pay because the shopping mall itself is an attraction and a magnet for people to come. So if you're at IKEA, well, why don't you swing just by at the mall as well? Because you're here, you already drove an hour. Yeah? Combination of trip chains come in play. Yeah? Because you're running up to Universal, doesn't mean that you do Disney at the same time. Yeah? Because you might have different consumer patterns. But if you're running down to the Keys, Key Largo, for a day of diving, What are you going to do after diving? What do you do after lots of sports?
Dream.
You're hungry. So you're not going to wait the 90 minutes up here until you're back home, or 2 hours depending on traffic, or 4 depending on traffic. You're going to eat down there. That's the reason why some of the restaurants are really doing okay. Because there's a lot of traffic going through, and because they're creating for food, pretty much that. If you go down next time on the Keys for just a trip to explore things, take a look at what kind of store sizes are on the left and on the right down the street. There are massive Publix and other stores. Like shopping centers, you see the same thing here in daily implementation. Because the traffic pass-through gives them that kind of locational factor. That said, this is where we start next week. I try to be as entertaining as I was in the first 90 minutes and not as slow entertaining in the last. Small breaks help. Bring some beverages. Water, stay hydrated, helps a lot. This was fun. Looking forward to see you guys next week. If you have questions, send me an email. I will post some of the slides, not all of them, but the most relevant ones to give you kind of a guidance, how you read the textbook and fill the gaps, okay? Have a good night, drive safe.